Hi there and welcome back. This is Rob. I'm back here with the Beast, the 100-hour MGB GT restoration. The goal being to finish this car in a good driver status in 100 hours of work. Today I'm working on a couple of things, basically the body and the front suspension, namely the tie rod ends and the steering rack boots. I've gone ahead and stripped the front fenders off the car completely. I had them loose so I could look back a little bit, but I went ahead and had to take those all the way off. Monday morning I'm going to order body panels, so I think I know everything I need that I haven't been able to secure or used, so I'll go ahead and show you. The damage, actually, I was fearing the worst. It's actually not as bad as it could have been. It's bad. The car will need complete new seals. You can see here's where the lower seal comes in, the very front, but that's the new seal should have enough to cover everything there. This panel here, which sometimes can be really bad, actually the lower part especially, is fine. No perforation, no real significant problems. There is a bit of a hole here, and this the piece here, that's just can be fixed with a piece of 90-degree angle iron. Now this front member, forget what the name of that is, but that's easily replaced, and that's a very common piece to have to be changed. So I think they're about less than $40. So piece of cake there, really easy to get to and weld. I can spot weld most of that. So that's going to be a piece of cake. Now one of the things I found that isn't cool is right here. I'm going to give the camera a second to adjust, but you can see here's the pedal box. I went ahead and got into this because I had to pull the pedal box to rebuild the brake master cylinder, even though it was fairly new. Why not rebuild it? I got a kit for $20, so I want to go ahead and do that. But this will be pretty easy fix because it's just a flat piece, and I'll just put it up from the bottom. But needless to say, it does have to be changed. It's very important to have the pedal box secure. The sills, again, from the inside. I power washed the car, I think I mentioned that, which actually worked pretty well. It really worked very well on the front suspension. You can't really tell just how filthy it was in the videos that I shot the other day because the light wasn't quite enough. But it got off, you can see there below. That's just the gunk I knocked off today. But there was a huge amount of grease that had been pushed through. You can see the grease nipples there. It had been pushed through from years and years of lubrication. So that's good that they lubricated it because the kingpins are actually in decent shape. I'll show you the inside of the car. The pressure washing, like I said, worked really well. The only thing I didn't think about was the GAD, the headliner. It kind of went all over. But again, here's the passenger side floorboards in all of their horror. Try to get a really good picture of these. But again, the side panel in front of the door is actually good. It looks worse than it is in this picture because that's just like debris that was blown around when I pressure washed. But as horrible as this is, this should all be covered in the sills and/or the door panels, or the floor panels rather. So no problem really. And when it gets back to the suspension pickup points, I've looked at it from the bottom. They're actually pretty solid. You can see the ground there. The pickup points seem to be okay. So again, I think I showed some pictures the other day. The bottoms of the doors, which didn't pick up the light very well. I'll see if I can get down here a little bit. The light's kind of to my front, so it doesn't really want to adjust. But these are fine. I mean, there's really no rust at all on the bottom of the doors, so that's awesome. The rear fender arches, this side they're pretty bad. Even the inners are going to have to come out, which is pretty common. But I'll just patch everything down from the seam where the chrome strip grows, and I'll get a full patch panel for this side. Again, the boot around here where the hatch door comes down is actually fine. This side isn't nearly as bad, and the inner panel is actually completely sound. I'll double check for sure when I cut it out, but that'll be a simple patch. This door is fine. The driver's side floorboards are, basically pretty terrible, but everything above them is fine, so it'll be just a very traditional kind of MGB sill job. And again, this front piece is perforated. I mean, I could probably get away with just patching the top, but I'm not going to do that. I'll put the full piece on it because it's cheap enough. And again, where it comes in here, even though this is horrible, I think all my new pieces, this piece right here is very sound, so I'm not really worried. I've prodded it pretty good with a pick and a screwdriver. I don't see really any perforation or any serious rust there, so I'm going to be in good shape. So hopefully, again, I'll be able to fix that. Now, a few people have said, "Oh my God, why would you even bother with this car? Because it's so rusty, and you could find another one." But actually, I think I showed the doors. I've showed the hood previously. It's actually perfect. When you look at the hood, actually, it looks worse than it is because there's just a little bit. This looks like rust here. Let's see if I can zoom out. But it's actually just dust and grime from, I guess, what a hood pad kit or a sound insulation. And these front frame rails, or the upper panels, I guess they're not frame rails, but the upper panels that hold the fenders in place, they're nice and straight. There's no real rust on them, just minor surface rust. All the bolts came off. They didn't shear. My MGA, I think I broke almost every bolt coming off of there. That's after soaking them 2 nights in a row with penetrating oil. Again, these are nice. Sometimes this can rust pretty bad where the fender comes into the top panel here. Very minor surface rust, so that's not going to be a problem. Okay, so that's basically where the body is. That's kind of the before pictures. Hopefully we'll have some finished ones here in a couple of months. I also want to just briefly go over what I've done today. I've worked on the front tie rods. I think I showed the other day. I got a whole box of goodies here. I think this was round 2 of the new parts that I bought, including new tie rods. So I had to remove the front tie rods. This side, I haven't done the other side yet. I'm just basically making sure I can get this side. I was going to do this side first and kind of take some pictures with the still camera to show the difference in what I could do in a couple of hours. Essentially, I've just basically cleaned this side off a little bit more. It'll still end up getting cleaned final, but this is just clean enough to do the work. One of the things I had to do is cut off the nut that goes on the inner tie rod here, and I did that very carefully. It was just not going to budge. I hit it 4 or 5 times with penetrating oil. It was soaked out yesterday all night and still did no good. You can actually see the difference right there. You can see where the threads were here. All the way down were protected, and they're perfectly fine. But then as soon as you get to the stuff exposed to the weather, it's really bad. So I'm gonna cut those. I'm gonna chase that out, or not the opposite of chase. I guess I'll use the tap and die set, and I'll clean those threads off. Now, one of the things that I mentioned a little bit on the website is the tap and die set. Actually, I've got a new one. It's kind of a cheap one. These are SAE, and this is one of the things I was going to talk about real quick, is fasteners on British cars. There are no really such things for automotive applications, at least, as American threads. We use SAE, so do the British. So when you go to get nuts and bolts, if you go to a hardware store or something like that, which you can do, and I've done that actually recently, they may say, oh, it's British, it uses metric. Well, actually, they don't use metric, they don't use American, they don't use British, they use SAE. And that's the Society of Automobile Engineers. And that's a standard that was developed actually right after World War II. The British and the Americans, we both made the same, we made some of the same stuff. Some of the tanks that were British were made in the U.S. Some of the fighter planes used the same engines. The P-51 Mustang used a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine that was actually made by Packard under license. And what they found is in field work, the nuts and bolts were not quite interchangeable. Even though they may both use 18 threads per inch, something like that, they would not interchange because the depth of the threads were slightly different. And sometimes that is a nominal figure. 18 threads per inch may not be exactly 18 threads per inch. It may be 17 and a half or something like that. In the same way that 2x4s are not 2x4s. If you think they are, take a tape measure to a 2x4 and you'll find out it's more like 3.5 by 1.5. It's a nominal figure. So what they did is, after the war, they came up with the standard. They did the same thing for ammunition. That's why 7.62 NATO is interchangeable, has been forever, so that we could use the same bullets in a big war. That, you know, the Cold War was heating up. So regular wrenches, regular tap and dies, all of that works perfect on British cars because we use SAE. And basically, what I'm going to have to do is cut these threads in, and hopefully that's going to be it. If I'm not able to cut those in, I'll just have to change the inner tie rod. So that's basically where I am, and that's like I said, I'm approaching 20 hours. I still got a lot of body work to do, but at least I'm set on. I know what I need to do and what I don't, and it's actually looking good. And the weather, we're here in East Tennessee, it could not be more perfect. It's 75 degrees, and there's just a light breeze, and it couldn't be a more beautiful day. So it's a great day to work on an MG. So that's it for today, and I'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.